And welcome back. And welcome back. No. And welcome back to a very scary radio show. I'm Alex Jansen. And welcome back. Alex Ansary here. There is some very interesting audio that I am going to be sharing with you. The woman at Fox News introduces John Bolton as they talk about North Korea with the tone that you would expect to hear from someone introducing Superman. So, John Bolton comes on and says, with regards to Donald Trump, uh, about his intentions to protect America, and he says it three times. He says it three times. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start now. One more thing. A female at Fox News who's hired to be an info babe is not in any position to be saying, well, we warned them. You're an info babe. You didn't warn anyone. You're there repeating the mainstream media talking points. But what you're also there to do, honey, is make it look like America's out of control, that China and Russia need to respond. And you're there acting like you represent America as a woman with her, hanging out of her chest. Exactly. She might as well be a hybrid alien because she's part of this set America up for a fall. A lot of people don't realize it. Let's listen.
Going on, everyone, and that happens to be North Korea. President Trump is saying that all options are on the table right now following North Korea's fourth missile test in 4 days, launching a mid-range ballistic missile over Japan and into the Pacific Ocean. The president releasing a written statement condemning North Korea's aggression, saying, and I quote, "The world has received North Korea's latest message loud and clear. This regime has signaled its contempt for its neighbors, for all members of the United Nations, and for minimum standards of acceptable international behavior." Joining me right now, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Ambassador, good to see you.
Glad to be with you.
Well, we warned them. We warned them. So what happens now?
Well, I think this is a very significant launch. Obviously, it passed over the territory of Japan. The North Koreans did this for the first time in 1998. The Japanese were outraged at it because obviously a missile that can land in the Pacific can hit territory in Japan itself. This missile's range was roughly long enough to hit Guam, U.S. territory, which they were warned against. I think, in fact, they pointed the missile in the other direction so as to avoid the Guam problem, but they've highlighted that the behavior of this regime in North Korea is completely unacceptable, and we don't know yet that they have the capability to put a nuclear warhead on that kind of missile or a longer-range missile. Imagine what their behavior could be like once they get to that point.
It seemed as though things had quieted down, but I guess you can never trust a regime such as we see in North Korea. So where does it go from here? I mean, the president has made it clear that we're not going to allow them to have that capability, and we're not going to allow them to just go and fire these things off whenever they see fit. So how do we now reinforce that? How do we, if we've drawn this line in the sand, so to speak, and I hate to use that analogy, but, we've told them, look, we're not going to put up with this, and we're not going to put up with this rhetoric. How do we enforce that now, Ambassador?
Yeah. Look, it is a line, and the president used tough rhetoric. He used tougher rhetoric than prior presidents. I think this should be the end of Secretary Tillerson and the State Department saying, let's negotiate with North Korea. We're encouraged that for 2 weeks they didn't fire any missiles. Let's talk to them. That's going nowhere. I think we have limited diplomatic options left, and therefore I think we have to look hard at the military option to take away North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile capability. I know this is dangerous. It's risky. It's nothing that anybody wishes we had to confront. But let's face it, what's the job of the president? It's to protect American citizens from nuclear blackmail by rogue regimes. And that is the prospect we face perhaps in a year from now, perhaps less, but from whatever that point is, forever.
What would that mean for Seoul?
Well, I think obviously that's the principal danger that we're concerned about. But, you know, yesterday, Korea time, the South Koreans conducted a bombing exercise near the DMZ designed to simulate what they would face to take out the North Korean artillery positions on their side of the DMZ north of Seoul. Nobody wants this, but I'll just say it again. What's the primary duty of the President of the United
Here we go.
States? To protect Americans, to protect Americans, to protect Americans. And from this regime,
You said
and
three
from
times.
regimes like Iran and others that could get nuclear weapons, I don't want Americans living under the threat of these kinds of regimes, irrational in our terms, having the capability to threaten and blackmail innocent American civilians.
Dangerous world we've got right now. Ambassador Bolton, thank you. I'm going to continue this conversation with you tonight.